think I should start off by saying, and now for something completely different, for whoever's watched Monty Python. As you said in the introduction, I've sort of been banging my head against the wall of sustainability for probably about the past 40 years, with a central question, which is, if so many things are happening out there that we know are not right, that we need to change, then why are we not managing to change them? And that's what I'd like to talk about a little bit today. And since this session is happening just before lunch, I thought we could do some cooking together. I really love cooking. Is there anybody else in the room that really, lots of people really enjoy cooking? Okay, good. Now, for this particular cooking lessons, I've brought some key ingredients with me. And I chose the ingredients based on my sense of what are some of the key trends that are shaping our future that we should be thinking about. And the first one, and it's part of the theme of the session today, is climate change. So all of the greenhouse gases that we're squirting into the atmosphere, we're making this place hotter, and it's having many impacts around the world that we're familiar with. It's an important trend, and it's something that many people are focused on. And it's very closely related to another trend. This trend is so small that people in the back of the room can't see it. It's a light bulb. But this is a second trend which goes to the question of energy prices and energy security, which is closely linked to climate in a positive and in a negative sense, and which is very much front of mind at this moment in time. They're both important individually, but they're also important because of their linkage. The third trend that's related to the two of those is water, of which we have much too much in some places, not enough in other places, and how we produce energy, how that impacts the climate, has a very immediate impact in terms of water in both a positive and a negative sense. And that leads us into something else. This is a tin of, or a glass of beans, carrots, is the whole issue of food security. Because as we're changing our climate, because of our energy systems and our impact on water, we're impacting food security around the world. So there's a very close relationship between these trends, and that's important because it means that if you focus on climate change alone, then in both a problem and a solution sense, you're not going to be able to deal with the issues in an integrated way. But there's more, because of these trends together are having a number of negative impacts that you've heard be referred to today, including the loss of biodiversity. I borrowed this from my dog this morning. I hope he hasn't noticed. The loss of biodiversity, desertification, for which I didn't have an attribute today, and material scarcity because of the rate at which we're depleting what we have on our planet. And finally, I took the birthday card my wife gave me. You won't be able to see in the back, but this is a picture of a tree. Deforestation, which is critically important as well. So in understanding what's happening to us, it's really important to look at these integrated trends, I think, of climate, energy, water, food, biodiversity loss, deforestation, material scarcity, and deforestation. So if that's the spectrum of what's coming our way and what we need to deal with, the question is, how is the economic system, the world, the economic world, dealing with those trends at this moment in time? So a couple of years ago, I had a look at 11 major components of the global economy. So cement, pulp and paper, steel, aluminium, shipping, airlines, etc. And asked myself the question, according to our current model, what are these sectors of the global economy, what impact are they actually having in terms of these global trends? And the conclusion that I came to, and you've already probably drawn the conclusion without me giving this little first bit of the introduction, is that basically the global economy is ignoring these trends. So that then raises the question, what would happen to our economic model at this moment in time if we were really to take these things seriously and to ask the global industry to internalize its environmental cost? Next question. I think I'm going to see lots of hands now, but how many of you actually work in the consumer goods industry or make things that consumers consume? Clothes, food, cars, etc. Okay, not as many as I had expected. That's good, because the conventional the conventional consumer goods industry, or at least the way the traditional consumer goods industry is working at the moment, externalizes so much of its environmental cost that if it was forced to internalize its environmental costs, its profitability would be wiped out more than twice over. And they're not unique in that. It applies to a lesser degree, but similarly to those other sectors of the global economy. So what we're basically, the situation we find ourselves in is that we have these trends, they're interrelated, we know they're incredibly important, but we're allowing industry basically to rape the planet, rape the resources, and drive life as we know it into the ground. That's the sad part of the story. It's the sad part of the story that's linked to my concern and probably your concern, why so little is happening at the moment on these incredibly important things. The positive part is that I do see a significant amount of change. I see companies, even like Unilever, beginning to produce different products for different people in different income segments. I see people producing washing powder that you don't need to have water to have it work. I see people producing toilets that don't need water either. I see people renting you stuff that you use to buy, like cars or drills or similar things. I see energy companies whose goal in life used to be to sell you as much electricity as possible, who today are actually trying to help you to save as much electricity as possible, because that's their new business model. So I am beginning to see a change. I am beginning to see a shift in how we do things, and I do see us beginning to respond to these trends, to these issues that we see out there, but not fast enough. And then the question is, why is it not happening fast enough? And I believe that relates to at least two things which I would like to ask you to work on. The first is that although we know lots about right and wrong, it's so much easier in life to do the wrong things rather than it is to do the right things. Very often in life, in your consumerism, you're not informed about what the right choice could be. If I go into a shop today and decide to buy a washing machine, I'll be lucky to see an energy label on it. But that energy label doesn't tell me very much about all of these sustainability-related trends and the impact of that product on our planet. So my first question to you is how, in a context of design, can we be much more innovative in providing people with the information that will lead them to make the right choices and buy the right products and do the right things rather than to do the wrong things simply because of a lack of information? And that's related to my second question to you. And it's the following. There's a saying in Dutch, and you've got it in English as well, and probably in French and Spanish and everything else as well. And the saying is that where there is a will, there is a way. You know, if we really care about this stuff, if we really care about these challenges, we can do it. We can fix it. But I'm not quite sure that that's entirely true. And I ask myself the question, if there is this phrase, where there is a will, there is a way, should we actually turn it around and say, where there is a way, there is a will? Is it actually not so much the lack of will that is standing in the way of action? Is it actually the lack of understanding of what the right choices are, the things that you can do to drive the kind of change we want, that is standing in the way of action? So my second question to you today is, how can you as designers help to show people the way, the right way, to the choices that they want to make in order to address these challenges which we all feel are so incredibly important? Thank you.